Happy Wisdom Wednesday, everyone, and this week's book of the week is Happy Wisdom Wednesday, everyone. So this week's book of the week is a classic when it comes to the startup world, technology, really anything in business. And that's 0 to 1 Notes on Startups or How to Build the Future by Peter Thiel. Now, we've had some really powerful and respectable people reference this book and essentially endorse it. So you have Nassim Nicholas Taleb saying, when a risk taker writes a book, read it. And in the case of Peter Thiel, read it twice or to be safe 3 times. And let's be honest, I love Nassim Nicholas Taleb, but it's very rare that he actually makes a compliment like that. So Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, many people have referenced this book, so I had to read it. I love the fact that it's quite detailed. There's a lot of interesting frameworks, so it gives you a very unique way to look at the world. So let's dive into some of those things that I took away as key takeaways. Now, for those of you who for some reason don't know, Peter Thiel is a world-famous billionaire, of course, but also a leader in the technology world. Specifically, he was part of the infamous PayPal Mafia, which is essentially the group of guys who got together and started PayPal. Now, for those of you who weren't aware of it, as indicated by this picture here, as you can see, many of those people are quite famous for the startups and the companies they ended up going on to found. We had Reid Hoffman, who went on and started LinkedIn, Stephen Chen, and a group of other people with him that started YouTube. You have, of course, Elon Musk. The unfortunate thing of that mafia photo is that Elon Musk is not in it. Hey, but that's okay because I can substitute that with this great photo of Elon and Peter Thiel when they were young. Interesting thing is, it turns out that they were big competitors between PayPal and the company that Elon had, which was X.com. They ended up combining and merging. And Peter Thiel and Elon essentially met in Palo Alto on neutral ground, I believe in one of the coffee houses, to talk about how they can combine their powers. Now, as you can see, the PayPal Mafia actually spun off and they ended up having a variety of founders go on and do amazing things and founded a lot of great companies. So to read a book from a gentleman who talks about what it takes to go from 0 to 1 is quite a great opportunity to learn. So what does it mean to go from 0 to 1? Well, when you have something in the world, in business products, if you go and take what you know and you know how to do and you just keep copying it and improving it, then you're really just going from 1 to N. Right? We see that when other countries start copying new innovations, new technology. We see that when competitors come to the market and try and replicate the same kind of product that's gotten early market success. But to go from 0 to 1 means a change and a shift in a paradigm. It means this moment in creativity where in an almost artistic fashion, it's a single point in time where something changes, something blows up. And instead of going like this to infinite, right? You go straight, you go vertical to the new. Right? We saw that in the way that social media changes the way that we communicate. We saw that in the way that perhaps something like YouTube changes how we watch videos, or how Tesla makes us think about traveling and electricity. Right? To go from 0 to 1 really is a spectacular moment of creativity of how you change the way things are done in the world. And this book is essentially your guide to do that. Now, to highlight one of the main themes of this book, Peter Thiel goes to one of his favorite interview questions he likes to ask, which is, what important truth do very few people agree with you on? Now, it seems like a very simple question, but it's actually very difficult, because saying something like God doesn't exist is not a good answer. It's very broad and vague. But answering that question allows someone to go from 0 to 1. And something that he points out from the Silicon Valley.com bubble was that a lot of the people in Silicon Valley learned these 4 big lessons from the dot-com bubble. Make incremental advances, stay lean and flexible, improve on the competition, focus on product, not sales. But yet, he points out the opposite is actually even more correct, which is it's better to risk boldness than triviality. Number 2, a bad plan is better than no plan at all. Number 3, competitive markets destroy profits. And 4, sales matters just as much as product. And so this whole book is actually an approach of how you can change the way you think and look at things. Because for him, one thing to think about is not necessarily globalization and getting your product just all over the world, but how do you make it ubiquitous? How do you make it so that you can't live and function even without it, right? Those are the harder questions to ask. The next thing I really liked from this book is his approach when it comes to thinking about a monopoly. So if you think about monopolies, they have 4 characteristics. In the case of Google, you have a proprietary technology. With Facebook, it's a network effect. With Amazon, you have the economy of scale. And with Apple, it's branding. And so with 3 specific steps he lists out, this is essentially how you end up with a monopoly and able to go from 0 to 1. So step 1, you start very small and you monopolize that niche, which, of course, Geoffrey Moore points that out in his book, Crossing the Chasm. The second thing is scaling up as fast as you can, of course, really ratcheting down on that niche monopoly that you have. And third, which is really going to surprise you, don't disrupt. And the reason why is that because you want to do it silently. Disruption causes a lot of attention and competitors to come in, and that's when you get in a game of going from 0 to N, right? Can you do it faster, cheaper, etc., right? To go 0 to 1, you have to do it silently. So that by the time you start to attract a lot of attention, it's already too late. You're getting closer and closer to being absolutely ubiquitous. Now, part of building a company that's essentially a monopoly is trying to see what others do not. And as I always say, the quality of questions you ask yourself will reflect on the quality of life that you lead. So look in the world, ask the kind of questions that people may not answer, right? Questions like, is there a way to do this completely differently? Is there a way to meet, other people, let's say, without meeting them in person, right? That was, at a time, like many familiar ideas we have today, there was a time where they were completely unfamiliar and almost crazy, right? What are those types of things? And in those types of questions you ask yourself, there's going to be a secret in there, a secret that maybe nobody else has thought of or found out of. Another thing I love that he pointed out in this book is, if you build it, will they come, right? If you build a great product, and the answer is no. And this is one thing that's a big problem here in Silicon Valley, is that so much of it is focused purely on product. There's this idea that if you build a great product, people will know about it and find it, and that's just simply not true. We often overestimate how difficult things are in science and engineering because it's obvious, right? It's something that if you're not trained in it, it looks very complicated. But we often underestimate how difficult it is to be very good at sales and marketing. You've probably dealt with a highly, highly skilled salesperson and you didn't even realize it, because a highly skilled salesperson and marketing person makes it look so easy. And that's a big mistake that many startups fall into. Thiel also includes a variety of interesting lists and framework. One of them is the 7 golden rules, where these are 7 questions that every business has to ask themselves. And he specifically points out that Tesla is actually the only company that's able to answer all 7 of them, and is a great model of what those golden rules mean. Now, in ending the book, he finishes off with this great chapter on conclusion of singularity or stagnation, right? And he believes that essentially ancient people used to believe that life used to be an oscillation between a lot of prosperity and complete ruin. And you have 4 different frameworks and models you go through. You have one where things just kind of go up and down, as you can see here. You have a model where you plateau, where you think that you're just going to keep improving in technology, and eventually the old world and the new world will kind of look the same, which as you can see here means that you just pretty much plateau. There's a sort of bad one where you essentially assume that everything that we're doing is just going to continue to fuel our fears, and we're going to essentially collapse, and so devastation is inevitable right here. And the 4th model, which is the most difficult one to look at and to think of, is thinking about a completely different future. Not only a better one, but a different one. And that's where you go from 0 to 1. So that's the book of the week. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a great book, and it's definitely a classic for every startup and every founder to have, especially a business person, because it's not only a great way to look at the world, it's a great way to look at business and life, and more specifically, think about things in a different way. So, as always, happy Wisdom Wednesday, and I'll see you next week.